My name is Jacob, and this story began 10 years ago. I was then a young reporter in a small town called Edgewood. While working at a local newspaper, I was looking for material for a sensational report. I had no idea that the search would lead me to the worst incident of my life. One day I received a call from my old friend and colleague, Michael. He worked at the police station and tipped me off to a news story that would make front pages. Michael said that a serial killer appeared in our town who has not yet been caught. The first victim was found in his own home. Her name was Sarah. She was young and promising, worked as a nurse in a local hospital. Sarah's body was found by her neighbors, and the sight was horrifying. Cuts on the body, scattered things, a feeling of fear and pain that literally filled the room. The news about the serial killer spread quickly through the town. People were afraid to go out at night, and many even began to install additional locks on their doors. The police worked day and night, but they could not find any clues that would help them find the killer. One day I received a mysterious letter in my work mail. There were only a few words written on it. "Find me if you can." The letter was unsigned, and I immediately knew that this could be an important clue. I decided to start my own investigation. I began questioning the townspeople, trying to find any details that might lead me to the killer. Every conversation with the residents was full of fear and tension. No one wanted to talk about it, but I knew the truth had to be revealed. I decided to visit the place where the first victim was found. Sarah's house was abandoned, but the atmosphere there was as terrible as the day she died. I searched for any clues that might leave the killer behind, but found none. A second victim was found a week later. Her name was Allison, and she was a student at the local college. Her body was found in a forest near the town. The killer acted quickly and ruthlessly, leaving no traces. Police began questioning local suspects, but none of them appeared guilty. The town was in despair, and I felt helpless. All I could do was continue my search and hope I would find some clue. Once, during one of my investigations, an unknown man approached me. He said he knew something important about the murders and wanted to share that information. I agreed to meet him at a cafe on the outskirts of town. The unidentified man identified himself as Jonathan. He looked nervous and kept looking around. Jonathan said he saw a suspicious man outside Sarah's house on the night of her murder. He could not make out the face, but he remembered that he wore a black jacket and had a peculiar gait. After talking with Jonathan, I decided to do a night watch near Sarah's house. Perhaps the killer will return to the scene of the crime. I hid in the bushes and watched every movement in the darkness. The night passed uneventfully, but I knew I had to continue my observations. A few days later, police found a third victim. This time it was a young man named Brian. His body was found in his own car. Like the previous victims, Brian was brutally murdered, but no traces or clues were left. While investigating the crime scene, police discovered a mysterious symbol carved into a tree near Brian's car. It was a strange sign that no one could recognize. I took a picture of the symbol and started looking for information about it. I contacted a local history professor, Dr. Richardson, to learn more about the mysterious symbol. Dr. Richardson studied the image and suggested that it may be an ancient ritual sign associated with some cult or secret society. Dr. Richardson suggested that I look into an ancient book that might have similar symbols. I agreed and spent several days in the library studying the book. Eventually, I found a similar sign that meant offering for purification. My suspicions grew. Who could be associated with such an ancient cult? I started researching the history of our town and found some old newspaper articles about mysterious disappearances that happened decades ago. I learned about an old legend that was circulating among the residents of Edgewood. The legend told of a secret society that carried out ritual murders to protect the town from a curse. Many considered this story to be fiction, but I began to doubt it. One evening I met a local old man, Harry. He was one of the few who remembered those old days. Harry revealed that his grandfather was a member of this secret society. He also admitted that he had seen a similar symbol on an old map of our town. Harry let me look at the map. It was worn and torn in some places, but places were marked on it that could be associated with ancient rituals. I decided to visit these places and try to find clues that would lead me to the killer. The first place on the map was on the outskirts of the town, in a dense forest. There was an old, dilapidated chapel. As I approached her, I had a strange feeling that someone was watching me. I looked around the chapel and found another symbol similar to the one on the tree near Brian's car. Realizing that I might be on the right track, I returned to the town. I began to feel constant anxiety. It seemed that I was being watched. I knew I couldn't trust anyone until I found the killer. A few days later, the police found the fourth victim. Her name was Rebecca, and she was a teacher at the local school. Her body was found in an abandoned house, not far from the old chapel. The same symbol was carved on the wall of the house. Police located a witness who saw a suspicious person near an abandoned house on the night of the murder. The witness described a person in a black jacket, but did not remember anything else. This made me remember Jonathan's story and focus even more on finding the killer. I decided to do another night watch near the old chapel. Maybe the killer will come back here. I hid in the bushes and watched the chapel. At night, I saw a shadow moving near the entrance. My heart began to beat faster, and I realized that this could be a killer. I decided not to risk it and cautiously followed the shadow. She disappeared into the forest, and I began to chase her. The shadow was moving fast, and I could barely keep up with it. I soon lost sight of her, but found another symbol on the ground carved into a stone. I returned to the town and decided to share my findings with Michael. He was the only one I trusted. Michael listened carefully to me and agreed to help in the search for the killer. We decided to visit other places on the map together. The next place on the map was an old cemetery that had not been visited for a long time. Michael and I went there in the afternoon to avoid unnecessary dangers. On one of the tombstones, we found another symbol similar to the previous ones. This confirmed our suspicions about the connection between the murders and the ancient cult. We found a carved name on the tombstone, Elias. Michael remembered that in the old police archives there was a file on a person with that name who was associated with mystical rites and had disappeared many years ago. We decided to find this dossier and learn more. Michael led me to the police archives where we began to search for information about Elias. We found an old file that confirmed that Elias was the leader of a secret society that carried out ritual murders. The dossier also contained a list of his followers, some of whom were local residents. The list of followers was incomplete. Some names were torn out or erased. Michael and I realized that maybe someone was trying to hide their involvement in a secret society. We decided to find those whose names were still on the list. First on the list was a man named Thomas. We decided to visit his house and find out more. Thomas was old and lived alone. He seemed scared to us when he saw the police, but still agreed to talk. Thomas told us that he was indeed a member of a secret society, but had long since retired from business. He admitted that his comrades gathered in the chapel where they performed rituals. Thomas said he had nothing to do with the latest murders, but he suspects some former members may have returned to the gruesome rites. While we were talking to Thomas, news came in of another murder. This time the victim was a woman named Nancy, who worked at a local store. She was found in her home with a symbol carved into her body. I began to understand that all the victims were connected to the town and had some connection with ancient legends. I decided to study in detail the biography of each victim in order to find a common thread that could lead to the killer. At Nancy's house, I found an old journal that had belonged to her grandmother. The diary contained notes about a secret society and rituals held in the old chapel. Nancy was a descendant of one of the first members of the society. Michael and I decided to go through the list again and find other descendants of members of the society. We realized that the killer was purposefully after them. Next on the list was a man named Liam. We visited Liam and told him about our suspicions. Liam was scared but agreed to help. He said that he knows another descendant of a member of the society, a woman named Elizabeth, who now lives in another town. We contacted Elizabeth and warned her about the danger. She was shocked but agreed to meet us. We decided to keep a night watch near her house to protect her from a possible attack. At night, we were on duty near Elizabeth's house. I heard every sound and watched every movement intently. Suddenly, we saw a shadow approaching the house. It was a man in a black jacket. I realized it was a killer. Michael and I started chasing the man, who saw us and ran away. We ran after him through the forest and soon lost his trail. However, we found another carved symbol on the tree. It was the same as the previous ones. I began to wonder why a killer would pursue the descendants of members of a secret society. Perhaps he was trying to complete some ritual or take revenge for something. I needed more information to understand his motives. I went back to the library and started looking for old newspaper articles about the secret society and its members. I found several articles about mysterious disappearances that happened many years ago. It seemed that they were all related to the rituals of the society. In one of the articles, I found a name that surprised me. It was the name of John, the former leader of the society, who disappeared many years ago. I began to suspect that he might have returned and continued his rites. We decided to meet Thomas again and find out more about John. Thomas was amazed at our find and admitted that John was the most fanatical of them all. He also revealed that John had plans to return to the rites in the future. Thomas admitted that he fears for his life because he knows too much. He gave us the address of the old storage room where the society kept its ritual items. We decided to check this place out and find more clues. We found a cache in an abandoned house on the edge of town. It was filled with ancient books, artifacts, and ritual objects. Among these things, we found John's diary, which could reveal more about his plans. John's diary was written in great detail. He described the rituals he performed and his plans for the future. John believed that completing the rituals would cleanse the town and protect it from the curse. From the diary, we learned that John was planning to complete a final ritual that required sacrifices. He believed that this would allow him to gain strength and immortality. We realized we had to stop him before he completed his plan. We started getting ready for John's stop. We gathered information about places where rituals might have taken place and developed a plan of action. Michael has gathered some reliable policemen to help us in this dangerous task. We decided to set a trap for John. We have spread the word that the descendants of the members of the society are meeting in the old chapel to discuss the situation. We hoped John would show up to complete his ritual. We took up positions in the old chapel and waited for John to appear. The night was quiet and tense. We heard every sound and watched every movement. Suddenly, we saw a shadow approaching the chapel. John entered the chapel, unaware of our presence. As he began to prepare for the ritual, we came out of our hiding places and surrounded him. John tried to escape, but we were ready for that. John was strong and determined. He clung to Michael, trying to break free. I rushed to help, and together we managed to twist it. John kept fighting, but we didn't give him a chance. After his arrest, John confessed to all the murders. He said that he believed in the need for rituals to cleanse the town. John also admitted that he planned to continue killing until he completed the final ritual. John's detention helped reveal the secret of the old society and its rituals. The police found other vaults with artifacts and documents that confirmed the existence of the society and its influence on the town. After the arrest of John and the disclosure of the secret of the society, the town gradually returned to normal life. People began to feel safer, and the police continued their investigation to find other possible followers of John. I returned to my work at the newspaper and wrote an article about the disclosure of the secret of the society and the arrest of John. My article got a lot of attention and I became a local celebrity. But I knew that the real heroes of this investigation were Michael and our team. The townspeople expressed their gratitude to us for stopping a serial killer. We received many letters and thanks, which lifted our spirits and gave us the feeling that our work was not in vain. Michael received a promotion in the police force for his work in the investigation. I continued to work at the newspaper, but now I knew that I would always be ready to help if there was danger in the town again. One day I met Thomas, who thanked me for stopping John. He said that now he can live peacefully without fearing for his life. Thomas also admitted that he now believes the town will be safe. During my walk, I found another symbol carved into a tree near an old chapel. It was the same symbol we found earlier. I felt a chill down my spine, but then I remembered that John had been detained and was no longer a threat to us. A few months later, we received a new investigation. A body was found in a nearby town with a carved symbol similar to the ones we found earlier. Michael and I realized that this might be a new killer trying to imitate John. We began an investigation in a nearby town, looking for clues and connections to previous murders. We realized that the new killer could be connected to John or his followers. The police have formed a new team to investigate these murders, and I have been invited to be part of that team as a consultant. I agreed, realizing that my experience could be useful in this investigation. We found footprints in the woods near the crime scene. They led to an abandoned house where we found old documents and ritual objects. This confirmed our suspicions that the new killer was trying to imitate John. We found a letter addressed to John that outlined plans for rituals and sacrifices. The letter was signed by a name that we did not know, but we understood that it could be the new leader of the society. We began to look for the author of the letter, visiting all the places where John's followers could be. We found several witnesses who saw suspicious persons near the murder scenes and began gathering information about them. One of the witnesses mentioned a man named Oscar who behaved strangely and was interested in old rituals. We decided to find him and learn more. Oscar lived in a remote house where we found him. Oscar seemed strange and nervous to us. He denied involvement in the murders, but we found ritual objects and records of ancient rites in his house. This confirmed our suspicions about him. We detained Oscar and began questioning him. He admitted that he was really interested in the old rites, but denied his involvement in the murders. Oscar said that he received letters from an unknown person who called him to rituals. During the interrogation, Oscar mentioned the place where he met the author of the letters. It was an old storehouse in the woods. We decided to check the place and find new clues that would help us solve the case. We found a cache in the forest and began a search. Inside, we found even more ritual objects and documents that confirmed the existence of a new leader of the society. We also found a list of possible victims. We decided to warn all possible victims from the list and provide them with protection. It was a difficult task, but we knew we had to stop the killer before he could complete his plan. Despite our efforts, the killer found another victim. Her name was Amelia, and she was last on the list. Amelia was found in her home with a symbol carved into her body. This made us realize that the killer was close. Michael and I and our team sat down together and began to discuss our plan of action. We knew we had to find and stop the killer before he could complete his ritual. We decided to focus on the search for a new leader of the society. We started an investigation to find a new leader of the society. We studied all possible connections and traces that could lead us to him. We also reached out to old members of the society to get more information. One of the former members of the society admitted that he knows about the new leader. His name was Nathan, and he was a fanatical follower of John. We decided to find Nathan and stop him before he could complete his ritual. We found tracks leading to Nathan's house. He lived in a remote place where no one could disturb him. We decided to approach the house and find out if he really is the new leader of the society. We began surveillance of Nathan's house. We saw him going out and coming back from the forest, bringing ritual objects. This confirmed our suspicions, and we decided to act quickly to prevent another murder. We devised a plan to capture Nathan. We decided to act at night, when he would be preparing for the ritual. We assembled a team and began to prepare for the operation. It was a dangerous and risky plan, but we knew we had to try. At night, we crept up to Nathan's house and took up positions. We saw how he prepares the ritual objects and prepares for the ceremony. When the moment came, we broke into the house and detained him. Nathan was strong and determined. He clung to us, trying to break free. We struggled with him, but eventually managed to twist and detain him. Nathan shouted about his ritual and threatened us, but we were determined. Nathan confessed to all the murders and told of his plans to complete the ritual. He considered himself the heir of John and tried to continue his rites. Nathan also admitted that he planned more murders to complete his plan. Nathan's detention helped reveal a new secret of the society. We found even more documents and artifacts that confirmed the existence of the society and its influence on the town. It helped us realize that we are not done yet. The townspeople once again expressed their gratitude to us for stopping the new killer. We received even more letters and thanks, which lifted our spirits and gave us the feeling that our work was important and necessary. After Nathan's arrest, the town gradually returned to normal life. People began to feel safer, and the police continued their investigation to find other possible followers of Nathan and John. We realized that our work is not done yet. We had to continue the investigation and find other possible killers and followers of the society. It was a new challenge, but we were ready for it. The police have set up a new team to investigate these cases, and I have been invited back to be part of that team as a consultant. I agreed, understanding that my experience and knowledge could be useful in new investigations. We began an investigation in a new town, where new clues were found that could be connected to the company. We studied all possible connections and traces that could lead us to new suspects. During the investigation, we met an old acquaintance, Thomas. He moved to a new town after our last investigation and started a new life. Thomas agreed to help us in the new investigation by sharing his knowledge and experience. We found several new witnesses who saw suspicious persons near crime scenes. They told us about their suspicions and gave us new clues that could help us solve the case. One of the witnesses mentioned a man named Henry, who behaved strangely and was interested in old rituals. We decided to find him and learn more. Henry lived in a remote house where we found him. Henry seemed strange and nervous to us. He denied involvement in the murders, but we found ritual objects and records of ancient rites in his house. This confirmed our suspicions about him. We detained Henry and began questioning him. He admitted that he was really interested in the old rites, but denied his involvement in the murders. Henry said that he received letters from an unknown person who called him to rituals. During the interrogation, Henry mentioned the place where he met the letter writer. It was an old storehouse in the woods. We decided to check the place and find new clues that would help us solve the case. We found a cache in the forest and began a search. Inside, we found even more ritual objects and documents that confirmed the existence of a new leader of the society. We also found a list of possible victims. We decided to warn all possible victims from the list and provide them with protection. It was a difficult task, but we knew we had to stop the killer before he could complete his plan. We decided to set a trap for the new leader of the society. We have spread the word that the descendants of the members of the society are meeting in the old chapel to discuss the situation. We hoped the killer would show up to complete his ritual. At night, we stood guard near the old chapel and waited for the killer to appear. When he appeared, we acted quickly and managed to detain him. The new leader of the society confessed to all the murders and told about his plans to complete the ritual. We stopped him and prevented new crimes. It was a long and dangerous road, but we managed to stop the serial killer and reveal the secrets of the ancient society. The town became calm again.